Hey Raven users, welcome to the Raven quick setup for MTi2 on Mac. Now when you open your Raven, it'll come with a card that contains a passcode and instructions on how to download the software. So we'll go to MTi2.com. We'll go to the downloads, select Raven software, and we'll select MTi for the product. For the DAW we want to authorize, just choose the DAW you're going to be using. Then type in your email and your name. And now we'll type in the passcode. Be sure to type this passcode in correctly or you'll be taken to an error page. Now when you're reading this passcode, zeros and O's could look very similar. The zero will be a little bit skinnier. And a capital I can look like a lowercase l, but since these are all caps, be sure you're only typing in caps. Then when you hit send, you'll be logged in directly to your Slate account. Once you're logged into your account, you'll see the first video is the Raven setup. This will walk you through cleaning the screen, registering the iLock license. Scroll down a little further. Now here's your calibration videos. So if you're on dual MTi2, MTi1, Windows, you'll want to watch the calibration videos from here. Now here's your quick start videos, Mac and Windows. Here's your batch command training videos to learn how to use all the batch commands. Here's how to set up the gestures. Here's where you will buy an additional passcode. Next, be sure to download the correct installer. We're on an MTi2. So we're going to download the MTi2 Mac installer, and let's run the installer. This will install vControl Pro, the Raven application, and the touch driver. While that's installing, let's go license our iLock. We'll go to our email. We'll have received an email with our activation code. Just copy this, open up the iLock License Manager, click the Redeem tab, and paste in the code. Then you'll be prompted on the location to put the iLock license. And for Raven, you have to license it to the iLock dongle as it won't work with the machine ID. So choose your iLock dongle, hit Activate, and the iLock has been moved to the dongle. While we're in the iLock License Manager, we'll also want to check that we're running the latest version. So, click on the iLock License Manager tab and check for updates. Looks like we're up to date, so we're good to go. Close that. We'll finish the installer. Once the installer is finished, you'll now notice you have this pointer icon up in the menu bar, and this is the UPDD driver. Here we can check the status, we can configure the displays, and we could even test the displays. Under status, we'll see it says Raven USB Monitor 1 OK. This means that the USB cable is being seen by the touchscreen and the touch driver. If that says NOK, there could be a problem with the USB port or the cable. Another way to check the USB is in the System Information. Under the USB tab, you should see the touch controller. If you don't see that, that means the USB is not being recognized by the computer and may require a restart or a different USB port. Now we'll configure the displays. On the touchscreen, I'll push and hold the blue cross and release, and on the non-touchscreen, I'll click Next. Now that touch is working, we can open up the UPDD test application and we can confirm multi-touch is working. Working great. Now you'll also notice this other circle icon that's UPDD2EO. Now this is very important as this is where Raven will get its multi-touch response from, so be sure that it's set to start at login. Now that we've configured touch, let's set up vControl Pro. Take vControl Pro, add it into your dock, right-click it, and set it to Open at Login. This will be sure that vControl Pro opens up and you don't have to start it every time when you restart your computer. Now, launch vControl Pro, and you'll notice nothing shows on the screen, but we get this little V up in the menu bar. This is how we know vControl Pro is running in the background. And here we can go to About vControl Pro, and we can see that this version is not licensed. This is okay because Raven does not need a license to work with vControl Pro. You'll only need to buy a vControl Pro license if you want to use the iOS vConsole application from Nyrink. Now, let's configure our system preferences. First thing we want to do is set our dock to auto hide, as this will give more screen real estate to the Raven's faders and the DAW. Next, we'll go to Security and Privacy. Under the Privacy, we'll click Accessibility. We'll unlock it, and now we'll add in all of the applications we're going to use to give them admin control over the computer. So we'll do Automator. Let's add Ableton Live, Pro Tools, Logic, the Raven MTi application, vControl Pro, and in the Utilities folder, we'll add Terminal. Click Lock. Now these apps can control the computer. We'll go back into System Preferences again, and now we'll click the Accessibility tab. From here, under the Zoom, we'll select Use Scroll Gestures with modifier keys to zoom. This will allow us to pinch zoom using gestures. Next thing, check your energy saver and set this to never. Because if the display and the computer go to sleep, they can shut down the USB ports and you would lose touch and have to restart. So if you want to put the display to sleep, turn it off from the back, set your screensaver, or shut down the computer. Next, let's configure our gestures. We'll go open UPDD Gestures. Then we'll check Other Settings, scroll down, and select Show in Menu Bar. Now you'll see we have another pointer icon up here, and from here we could load our gesture profile from Documents, Raven Gestures, and depending on the DAW we're using, we will import the gestures for that DAW. Now, further in the Gestures app, you'll see we have customized different key commands for gestures based on the DAW you're using. So rotate left, we'll do key command B, rotate right, we'll do key command Command M. These are very easy to reprogram. Just hit set keystroke, Command E. Now that gesture will perform that move. Up here you'll see we have pinch zoom is set to zoom screen. So now we can pinch zoom in on our display. A great way of testing that the touchscreen is seeing your gestures is to click the gesture icon and show the gesture log. From here, we could see that all my gestures are being recognized, and this way you confirm you're doing the gesture correctly. So, now we may want to configure Mission Control and desktops to utilize all of our displays that we have set up on our system. So, we'll go into System Preferences, Displays, Arrangement, and we'll make sure that this menu bar is set on the Raven display furthest to the left. We'll also go into Mission Control and confirm displays have separate spaces is on, and this will allow us to have menu bars on both displays. So a great way to do this is opening up Mission Control and clicking this plus button up here and adding another desktop. And now in our applications, if we right click them, we could select what desktop to open on. So I will make Chrome always open on desktop 2. I will have iTunes open on desktop 1. Calendar I'll set to open on 2. And things like Logic, we would want none or all displays so that we can utilize all the displays with this app. So now if I launch Chrome, it opens on the second display. iTunes opens on the first display, and Calendar opens on the second display. So this is a great feature on OSX utilizing different desktops with mission control. So now let's set up the Raven with Logic. We'll open up Logic Pro X. And you'll notice Logic Pro wants to connect to vControl. So we'll say connect. We show Logic Pro in here. And we'll open up the Raven application. We'll select Logic Pro X. And if we don't want it to select the DAW startup, we'll uncheck, which will set Raven to always open up with Logic. We'll hit OK. Now we'll test the play and stop button. We'll see they're lit up, which means Logic, vControl, and Raven are all working correctly. One other way to check is to click up on the V and go to Setups, and we could see Logic Pro X and Raven are lit up in the setups. Logic Pro X is showing as a connected software, and the Raven is showing as a connected controller. Now, if any of these are grayed out, perhaps like Steinberg, this means Cubase isn't open and the Raven's not connected. If this is happening, you may need to quit the DAW, quit vControl Pro, restart until they show up how you see here. Now we need to set up our Logic internal mixer. Now if I hit the Arrange window, you'll see it brings up screen set 8, and if I hit the Mix window, you see it brings up screen set 9. But my overlay is showing, and this is because we haven't set up our screen sets. Now there's a couple ways to do this. First I'll show you manually, and then we'll show you how to do templates or with the Raven setup button. Now I have my mixer here, and since I want Logic to align with the mixer on 9, I just go open up the main mixer. Now I'll set this up in the corner. I'll drag the bottom down to the red line, and I'll drag the sides to fill the whole window. So we're close to aligned, but you can see our names are hidden, and this is because we need to set up the channel strip components to show type and device, track number, track notes. There you go, now we see our names. I also like to show VCAs. And I also prefer wide fader mode, which will work better with larger sessions. Now we want to save this layout, so I just lock, unlock, and lock the screen set. So now I can always bring up screen set 9 and my Logic mixer will align. So now let's set up screen set 8, which is what happens when you hit the Arrange window. So this is pretty good, but we may prefer to have it a little tighter. And maybe I also prefer a little more screen real estate, so I want to only show one Raven rack. So I'll resize this window here. And perhaps on my second window, I also want to see the mixer. So I'll open up the mixer. I'll drag it to my second display, size it up, and I will lock this screen set. So now when I go to Arrange, it brings up 8. When I go to 9, it brings up 9. Now maybe on 9, I want my Arrange to also show on the other window. So I'll go grab my Arrange, drag it over here to my other display, unlock, and lock the screen set. Now 8 is Arrange and Mix. 9 is Mix and Arrange. And if I had more displays, I could set piano rolls and other things to default to that window. But now I want all my sessions to already have these screen sets, and I don't want to have to move the windows around every time. So I go File, Save as a Template, and I'll just call this Raven Screen Set Template. Dual. And now if I start a new session, I can do New from Template, and I can select my screen set template, and now my windows will show up in the correct spot. Another thing we'll want to set up in Logic Pro is our key commands. Want to be sure these are set to Raven keys, as we've mapped custom key commands to Logic. Now if you've opened up an older session that may not be aligned, And you can see our screen sets. This has all kinds of screen sets. We want to import the ones we just made. So we go Project Settings, Import Project Settings. We select the screen set template that we've made. And we just check the box for screen sets. Now this will automatically replace the screen sets and use the ones from our template. Now when we use our Arrange Mix button, we're aligned. There you go. Quick setup for Logic Pro X and Raven. Alright, bye.